excited to have this guy on. This is part of the reason why we started this podcast, but also just super happy and humble to have him here. This is the Complete Athlete Podcast where we get you to your next level in your sport and in life, that sport being baseball. Super excited to have Evan Sean. How are we doing, Evan?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Seriously, super excited to have you on here. I remember when was it? When did you come back from Mankato and you were started training with us?
That was
January 2021, February 2021?
Yep, January 2021.
Yeah, so that's coming up on 2 years now. Like, a lot has happened in that 2 years, huh?
It's been a crazy
ride.
2 years.
Yeah. So, like, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, obviously the audience, I know you a little bit better, but the audience doesn't know you. Like, we kind of want to learn a little bit about your journey with, one, baseball and how you grew up, just in general, where you grew up, like all the Little League stuff. I know you used to live. You can tell us all about it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your journey coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, for sure. I think, so I started playing baseball, I think I was either 3 or 4 years old, just playing T-ball and stuff like that. We originally lived in Zimmerman, Minnesota.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a house out there that my parents built just themselves, and we were there until I was about 6 years old. I don't really remember a whole lot during that time, super young during that time. But one thing I do remember is just, going to play baseball games here and there with my brother. And
yeah, because you have an older brother, right?
Yep, he's almost 4 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then when I was 6 years old, we moved out to California because we ended up losing our house in Zimmerman, and then just kind of some other things happened, and my dad already knew that me and my brother had a huge passion for baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in California's, baseball's
king.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's huge out there.
Yeah.
So, and it's the best weather for it too. So he decided that we would bring the family out there. And
where in California did you live?
Temecula. So
okay,
it's about 45 minutes north of San Diego.
Okay.
Super cool city. It's pretty big too. It's like got 100,000 people in it. But
lots of baseball. Lots of baseball players. Tons.
Yeah. Oh, tons.
Like, did they have to separate the city, like in the leagues that you're in? Like, there's just so many kids, so many teams, or was there one league, or like how did it all work?
Yeah, there was so many different leagues. But me and my brother kind of stayed with one. And it was TYB, Temecula Youth Baseball.
Okay.
And that was like the main league, I would say. Because that was where all like the players and friends that I knew growing up, that's where they all played. And so it was like the best competition and like the most fun too, because that was like all my friends played in it. So I'm either on teams with them or I'm playing against them.
Absolutely. That's always the best. Good, friendly competition.
Exactly.
And didn't you like play up with your brother? Like when you were younger? Or I remember your dad telling me a story about that a while ago.
Yeah. I never got the chance to play with him on like an actual team.
Yeah.
He was always like 1 year ahead, like to where, for example, like he graduated high school a year before I got into high school.
Yeah, so you're an 8th grader when he's a senior. Okay.
Yeah. So,
got it.
But yeah, so I never got the chance to play with him on the same team growing up, but we were always, either in the backyard, hitting ground balls to each other, or he's pitching to me or I'm pitching to him.
Yeah.
Going to the field constantly. My parents would take us on weekends after school, just to go just be at the field because that's where we wanted to be all the time.
Yep.
It was and my brother was a huge part in making me like the player I am right now, because having somebody who's that much older than you, but also like as passionate in the sport, and just to be there every day to have that competition and have that love for the game and whatever, it just made me that much better, because whenever he's pitching to me or anything like that,
he wasn't like going easy on you. He was like trying to rip it by you.
Yeah, exactly. No remorse at all. He wanted me to be the best I could be, and so he wouldn't take it easy on me. But that just made the competition that I faced a lot easier. So like when I'd be stepping in the batter's box and someone's throwing to me that's my age, it's like looks like it's slow motion compared to my brother and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Oh, absolutely. Like when you're 4 years younger, so that's a big change. So you played Temecula youth baseball. Like, from what ages did you play that from? And then tell us a little bit about that journey afterwards.
yeah, so I played it our entire time that we lived out in California. It
Okay.
was from when I was 6 years old to 12 years old. Because 12 years old was when we moved back here to Minnesota. But yeah, it was spring, fall ball, constantly. I think maybe would play, I don't know.
Do they play all year round out there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would probably take a break, maybe a month or two out of the year.
Yeah.
Just 10 months or 11 months straight, always in season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like, always competitive. I actually, in like, I think it was 2011, we had a team that we ended up winning like the whole championship and everything like that.
Sweet. Big
yeah.
trophy.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have the big trophy.
It was awesome. Yeah, I got to pitch in the championship game too, and the final out ground ball right back to me, and I flipped it to a kid who was probably my best friend at the time at first base, and threw the gloves up in the air.
Heck
and
yeah.
just going crazy.
The guys before this, they were talking about, did you guys do a dog pile?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was all dirt field, so
Everybody's just dirty, and all the moms are like, dang it, gotta wash that later, but whatever.
Yep, exactly. It was so much fun. But yeah, playing out there was just like, I don't know, that competition out there was unbelievable. I got to play on a couple club teams too. One was called the Hitmen, SoCal Hitmen, and I had a coach, Ruben Villar, who he was one of the top coaches I've had throughout my life. Super cool guy, knew the game incredibly well. He just, everything about it. He, if you had a question for him about anything, like whether it was a mental part of the game or physical part of the game, he had an answer for it. And but he also just had fun with us too, because we were still kids. Just all around good guy. And we won a lot of games with that team. Played a lot of tournaments, and that was probably one of the most fun years of baseball because of the team that I was, just the group of guys that I was playing with, coaches, and I actually got to, my brother actually ended up being a coach for that team a little bit as well, even though
Sweet.
he was like 14, 15 years old at the time. But,
Yeah.
But my head coach, Ruben, he knew that my brother had a good knack for the game. And
Yeah,
so,
had the baseball IQ, and he loved it. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, if you love something enough and, like, that you're still going to be able to teach kids, it doesn't matter what age you are. Like, yeah, no, that's awesome. And you get to play for your brother. That's
exactly.
sweet.
Yeah, he would call pitches too a lot for the
Really?
game. So yeah, I would be on the mound and he'd be calling pitches, and it'd be that dynamic duo. And
Sweet.
I think like one of the coolest stories from that time is my dad told me that one of the teams we were going against, it was parent of a kid that I was friends with, and he was playing on the opposite team. And that parent, he came up to my dad and he was like, usually I can figure out what pitches guys are calling, but he's like, I can't figure your son out. So,
there you go.
So yeah, my brother
Deceptive.
my brother was he's a genius in baseball and in life. So it was
That's sweet.
Pretty big advantage having him as my pitch caller. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So you were 12 or so, and then you moved back here to Minnesota. So, like, tell us about that experience, and then that was your middle school years, and what'd you do as far as baseball? Like, what teams did you play on, and then into high school as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we moved back here, it was pretty big, like, shock for me, because I didn't remember a whole lot of Minnesota from when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then, coming back here, it's a whole different environment. And, you go into winter, you can't play baseball anymore in the winter and stuff like that.
But your dad was trying to find every opportunity or every place to get you to keep playing baseball, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, we moved back here and just kind of, got into the Fridley Middle School. trying to meet some new friends and stuff like that, which went pretty smooth. I would say. I was
Rico Suave in here.
I was nervous, because I was always like a shy kid when I was younger, and I'd still say I am kind of more on the shy side when I'm like first meeting people.
Yeah.
But especially when I was younger, I was super shy. So like, it's
Well, you're probably hanging out with all your older brother's friends and stuff, and you're always younger, and you're kind of just like following along a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of how I was with my older siblings. So
yeah. But yeah, getting into the middle school, starting to make new friends, and then getting into the baseball season, just trying out for the middle school team, and getting that experience.
Did they have a middle school team, or just traveling in the summer, or?
Well, at that time they had a middle. I don't know if they still do.
Probably. I don't think schools have middle school teams.
Yeah.
I don't think they do.
But yeah, at that time they did. So we had it was. I think it was just like a 7th grade team.
Yeah.
Because I was in 7th grade when we moved back, and so, I just played for the 7th grade team, and then my 8th grade year, I think it was called like the C team or whatever, and I think it was like affiliated with the high school.
Yeah. So the 9th grade probably team.
Yeah. So my 8th grade year played up a level with because all the other guys on the team were a year older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing against guys that were older than them too. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So we were.
You were playing some 10th or JV teams.
Yeah.
For the smaller schools.
Yeah. So we were all. Yeah. I was 13. They were all. Well, actually, I was probably 12 or 13, and they were all either 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And we were playing probably like some 15, 16-year-olds.
Well, now that you mention that, because I coached the Spring Park 9A team this year, and then our 9B team faced Fridley.
Mm-hmm.
They had 7th and 8th graders on that team.
Yeah.
And they actually beat our B team because they were really bad. So.
Yeah. They. I don't know. I feel like Fridley's always we've always played younger.
Yeah. Yeah,
because that's how it was going into my.
We're starting to get some younger Fridley guys in here for preseason.
Right?
Just a few of them.
Okay.
But we're trying to, like the 10, 11-year-olds, trying to get them coming up.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into high school and stuff, my freshman year, we had it was the same core group of guys from the year before.
Mm-hmm.
I started varsity as a freshman. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the lineup was all sophomores except for our second baseman, who was the one senior on the team. And that year we went 14-5, and we made it to section finals. And I think we were ranked number 2 in the state or something like that. And then we lost in section finals to Matamidi, who was number 1 in the state. And,
oh yeah. Did you ever face Mike Bauman? He was their big righty pitcher. I don't know if he was 4 years at. Did he graduate 2014 or 2015? Yeah, you didn't face him then. Yeah.
Because that was 2016, my freshman year.
Okay, so yeah, but he's still pitching. He got some innings on the Baltimore Orioles this year.
Oh really?
So he was just 2 years ahead of you when you're a freshman. So 6 years ahead of you. But
okay.
Yeah, he's a starter for them. So
that's sweet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I used to pitch with him on a club team, so I was just seeing if he was on that team because Matamidi has always had good teams.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. They knocked us out a couple different times in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
in my high school career. But,
yep. They also had a Jelly. He was
Sean Jelly.
Sean Jelly. So he used to come along. He was a part of the same club organization. He was a few years younger than me.
Okay.
But he'd ride with me and another guy down to. So all these guys, I'm like, dang it, what's in the water in Matamidi?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Jelly's with the Giants now.
I know. Yeah. It's ridiculous. 2 guys that have hit the pros in the last 2 years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
hopefully I'll be getting there soon.
Hey, don't say hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I will be getting there soon.
It's that mental mindset thing, right? Like we talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, keep telling me about. So you pitched. I know you had a pretty successful high school career. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm sure we can find the stats online and whatnot. But you had, didn't something about strikeouts later for all time.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. So I'll start. My freshman year, I went 9-0. Actually 10-0 if you include the playoffs. As a freshman pitcher, which
That's insane.
I led the state in wins that year as a freshman.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't really have any expectations for myself going into that year either.
Probably why you did so well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
did it.
I just did it. I never really thought about anything. I would just go out there and play. And
yeah,
along with those 10 wins, two of them were I had back-to-back no-hitters against.
What? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Holy crap! What year was that?
That was my freshman year.
Your freshman year. So you're pitching against sophomores, juniors, seniors mostly at other schools, and you had 2 no-hitters.
Yeah, they were back-to-back.
That's ridiculous, Evan. I didn't know these things. Goodness.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was. I ended up because of those no hitters too. The Star Tribune newspaper came to one of our practices and did a small little interview on me and put me in the newspaper.
Well, yeah, they better be. They better be putting you all over the evening news. This guy threw. I remember there was one kid a long time ago who threw I think he threw back-to-back no hitters a small school out in rural Minnesota.
Okay.
And they did a special on him, but that's sweet that the Star Tribune interviewed you.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. And I mean, I was at that point I was 5'6", 135-pound kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really small.
So you're completely different than what you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Just so you guys know, Evan is 6'4". What's your weight at now?
Probably 205.
And you're 6'4", or have you grown more?
I'm 6'4", yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I was big
205.
Difference.
Remember when you first came in? You were what, 180, 179, 180?
Yeah, I think so.
We're eat.
Yeah. That's been the main goal that I've been trying to just eat.
Work out, eat.
Yep.
Work out, eat. Yes.
But yeah, and so the freshman year was awesome. And then sophomore year and junior year were they were still good years, but they weren't anything on that.
It's kind of hard to top that freshman year to start out.
Yeah, it was hard to beat that and get noticed the way I did in the freshman year. But then
let me ask you this: going back to that freshman year when all that was happening, what thoughts were going through your head when you did throw those back-to-back no hitters? Were you trying to stay humble? I mean, obviously you're still developing as a player and as a human being. When all that comes on you, you're how did you handle it? I know you're pretty even keel with things, but
yeah, I just tried to stay as normal as possible
because it's easily to get distracted,
Yeah, definitely. And I think a big reason why I didn't really have any problem with the distractions was just my family.
Absolutely.
My dad, my mom, they've always told me to just stay humble no matter where you go in life. Just don't get to a point where you're not appreciative of what things that you've done, you've been able to do, and not appreciative of the people that have been there to help you and stuff like that. So I just try to keep it cool.
Those are some wise words from a 21-year-old.
Well, yeah, that doesn't come from me. That's my parents. That's my brother.
Tight-knit family.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But yeah, after that freshman year, just tried to keep it as cool as possible. Kept just doing my thing. Going into my sophomore and junior year, which like I said, they weren't as spectacular as the freshman year. But my senior year, that's when I started to, I get more recognition and get noticed by more people. Because that year I finished that year 7-0, which was second in the state in wins. I also had 2 no decisions, which those games I had pitched through the 7th inning and they were 0-0, and so 7-0, which was second in the state in wins, and then I had a 0.45 ERA, which was 9th in the state, and then I finished with 123 strikeouts, which was first in the state.
Holy crap! I thought my 0.64 ERA for Legion Ball was good. Goodness. For Fridley Legion, which you did play Fridley Legion at some point, right?
Yep, I did play for the Legion for a couple of years actually.
Okay,
You know,
sweet.
but yeah, after that senior year, I was I was named All State. I was put on the Metro North All Star team for the All Star game in the summer. And I was nominated for the Minnesota Mr. Baseball Award, which I didn't end up winning. Drew Gilbert won that, and Drew, a lot of people might know Drew Gilbert since he played at Tennessee, and he just got drafted in the first round this year, 28th
First round?
overall. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you're like everybody at that level. Everybody's doing like even with all your accolades that you're getting like during that time. So it's awesome that you achieved those things in high school. Like it prepared you with where you've been going the last few years now. So like at that point, for all of our younger viewers that listen to our podcast, like getting recruited and things like that, how was that whole process? Like, was it happening earlier? Was it just your senior year? Was it happen junior year, sophomore year? Like, how did you handle all that? And tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. So I really didn't get recruited a whole lot until my senior year, because that's when that's when I grew a little more, grew into my body more, got stronger, and then the year that I had my senior year and the way that I finished out my career, actually with the end of my career, I finished. I don't know if this is up to date or not, but if it is, I would be fourth in Minnesota State history in strikeouts, and I think either sixth or seventh in wins, or maybe it's the other way around, sixth or seventh in strikeouts and fourth in wins.
Okay.
All time in Minnesota State history. And so, yeah, with the recruiting process, it was, nothing really came till senior year, but it all started coming in quick.
Yeah.
And
So like there was like an avalanche. Like literally, it was like all how you were doing for like a few years. Like it built up to this point, and like you probably had a bunch of schools talking to you at one time.
yeah, and it was it was kind of, I don't know, I would say it was a little bit overwhelming at first, but I made it a big like deal to myself to kind of really narrow it down to like a few schools that I would want to go to. So I tried to do that as quickly as I could. I tried to, research the schools that were talking to me and stuff like that, and learn about them myself instead of waiting for them to tell me to come on a visit to learn about their school. So I took it upon myself to learn about their program, learn about the schools, and feel like, see if they would be the best fit for me, and stuff like that. And then, eventually ended up choosing Mankato.
Okay.
I was a late commit, because the recruiting process for all these schools didn't really start coming until after my senior year had ended. So when guys had already either committed, like some guys commit their junior year of high school, some guys commit in like the fall and like the beginning of their senior year and stuff like that. So I didn't commit until late June.
Wow.
And so I was probably one of the last, if not the last, commit to Mankato that year. And it's kind of stressful. Not like there was some points where I was like not really sure where I'm gonna go and whatever. But
those thoughts were going through my head right after my senior year too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I could go to St. Scholastica. I just decided to stay home and work on my development with my pitching coach, Dan Tupper, who worked with you a few sessions a while ago. He convinced me to go there. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gone there. But no, that's tough, like especially after your senior year. So you decided that late June to go to Mankato. Tell us about your, freshman year. That was the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fall went really smooth. Everything was going great. Baseball and school and whatever, and practices and getting along with my teammates and
Absolutely.
all that stuff. And so I was feeling pretty good going into the spring. And then when we got back from winter break and we get into our spring practices to, you know, get ready for the season and kind of determine who's going to be, you know, the guys going into the season. And, you know, I just kept pushing myself to try to, you know, get a spot on the roster. You know, I didn't want to get redshirted. And so, fortunately, I was able to do that. I was one of 2 guys out of the 13 freshmen that year that wasn't redshirted, and I was able to travel with the team for a trip to St. Louis and a trip to Florida. And we played 13 games, and I got a couple relief appearances, which that's how they wanted me to start the year, and then probably work me into some starts later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my relief appearances, I came in for 4 innings and had 4 strikeouts, no runs given up, and got my first collegiate win.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I bet that felt good.
Oh yeah,
Get the monkey off the back.
Yeah, definitely. It was great, and you know, after that game too, like when it ended and we got the win, getting the support from my teammates, they were all super hyped, getting out of the dugout and congratulating me and everything like that, and that was a really awesome feeling, you know, to
Heck
have
yeah,
that
man.
support from those guys.
It's all about the boys making the whole camaraderie thing, like, you know, that's what brings the team together.
Yeah.
And so that was your freshman year. Well, that was the first part of it, and then how to
Yeah.
go from there.
So yeah, that relief appearance, that was in Florida, and so when we were done with that Florida trip, it was on the flight back, it was, I think we had a layover. I can't remember exactly where, but when we got off the plane for our layover, we all had like notifications on our phone, and like our coach told us like, yeah, hey, season's gonna be postponed for a little while until further notice, and we were all just like,
What?
yeah,
What?
like it was a big shock. It was super unexpected because we just had a really good trip out in Florida.
Yeah.
And kind of just, it gets you know, it got us excited for the rest of the season and stuff, and then all of a sudden nope, it's done.
Right.
And
Yeah. So you got back, and like, so what were you like? Obviously, it was postponed until further notice. You didn't know what was going on, and then what happened from that standpoint with your eligibility? Because like, did that cost you a year since you didn't end up playing that season?
No, it didn't cost anybody a year.
Because you only played like a certain amount of games.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, everybody, you know, maintained that year of eligibility still.
Okay.
But yeah, we all just had to go home basically, like it was a summer break already or something like that in February, and just kind of do our own thing. And it was weird. I didn't know, like, you know, what I was gonna do. I just kind of trained and stuff like that. Did what I could. And then during the summer, I ended up going to play with the Wilmer Stingers in the Northwoods League for about a month or so to end the season, which it was a cool experience. But I think it would have definitely been cooler without the COVID restrictions and all of that.
Yeah.
Because there weren't as many fans at the game and stuff like that. But it was a great time. It was super competitive, you know, playing guys from Division I schools all across the country, Division II, Division III, whatever. And you're getting to meet guys from, you know, other parts of the state, other parts of the country. And then I got to stay with a pretty awesome host family. And
yeah, I hear those host families, like they take care of you like you're their own. Right?
Oh yeah, they definitely do. The people that I stayed with, they had a huge like man cave down in their basement, and they just gave me that whole space down there with big like pool table, big flat screen TV.
I bet all your teammates were jealous. They're like, we're hanging out at Evan's host family tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's great. So like from that standpoint, like you went into your, well, it should have been your sophomore season, but it was probably like for baseball related, it was your freshman season, I guess, again.
Yeah.
And then like you had that fall and whatnot, and then tell us about that next year.
Yeah. So, going into that fall, there was already like some like some battles or whatever that I was dealing with. Just like everybody was dealing with the COVID thing that was kind of taking a toll on everyone. But then I ended up losing my grandpa. He passed away in August when I was playing in Wilmer. And luckily I was able to see him a couple days before he passed. But he was like a big influence on my baseball career. He played baseball.
Didn't he play for the Gophers?
Yep, he played for the Gophers when they won the College World Series in '56.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's a huge influence for sure.
Yeah. He was at every game in my high school career as long as his health allowed him to be there, because he was battling cancer for quite a while. So every baseball game, every basketball game, he was there cheering me on.
Mm-hmm.
And so losing him right before school started was pretty hard, just because he wanted to see me play college ball so bad, but he never got the chance to because COVID ruined it my freshman year. So yeah, that really took a toll on me, not knowing that he wasn't going to be able to be in the stands at any of my collegiate games or anything moving forward. So yeah, that was tough going into that school year. And then just with the COVID thing, and there was a couple other things that kind of factored in that I was just struggling mentally, and wasn't really focused on school, and the only thing that really helped me kind of escape from anything was baseball, and that was the only thing I would look forward to throughout the day. My grades started to slip and kind of messed up that fall semester, and then that December I also lost my grandma, and she was the last of my grandparents. And that just made it even worse because I wasn't able to see her for, I think, almost the last year that she was alive, because the nursing home that she was in wasn't allowing.
Yeah, that was tough for everybody who had a grandparent in a nursing home. Then I just saw all the videos of that stuff, and I was like shaking my head.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, the last time I had gotten to see her was the previous year in December for Christmas, and then I'd gone back to school, and COVID shut everything down, and I wasn't able to go visit her anymore. And having her pass away without me being able to go see her one last time, the last time I had gotten to see her, I'd had no clue that it was going to be the last time I would get to see her, so I'd kind of didn't appreciate it as much as I wish I would have.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, they're both looking down right now. Yeah. They're proud, and they're watching you from heaven, man.
Oh,
so
that's
even though they're not there in person, they're seeing everything that went on. So you were on that. You were at school. Things were going awry, mentally, with just everything, and you're obviously handling adversity here at this point. So you came home. And that's when we met.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
that's when we met.
Yep.
So obviously you can't. I remember your dad. I think he found us on lessons.com or something. And then he's like, yeah, and I don't know how he made the connection that Mason played with your brother Wyatt, right? Your brother's Wyatt, right?
Yep.
I just remembered his name.
Yep.
And then you came in for an assessment, and yeah, so at that point in time, what was your thought process of obviously you're handling all these life things that are coming at you, the school thing, the grades thing, and then grandparents, what was driving you to keep playing baseball? I mean, I know you love baseball, but what kept you going?
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that kept me going was just knowing that the people that have been there throughout my entire life, who wanted me to, succeed so bad. My parents, my brother, my grandparents, they would all, want me to keep going. And I had screwed things up. And I know I had disappointed them a little bit during that period of time.
Yeah.
And so I just knew that I needed to find a way back. because I'd kind of lost my way, and I just knew that I needed to get back on track, and because there was a point where when I took that break from school, and like when I first made that decision, I was like, I was wondering if that was gonna just be the end of baseball for me, if I was gonna be able to even get back into school anywhere. So yeah, just needed to find something that could make me keep going. And so I told my dad that there was no way I was gonna stop playing baseball. And so he said okay, and helped me find you guys, and yeah. And
that was a crazy time, man. Like I remember that, like you came in and like we're looking at you, like you're 6'3" about that time, 179, 180 pounds, and like you're throwing in, and we'll show a clip of it, like the little warehouse we're in.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what were you thinking when you came in there? Because like I don't know how we operated in there for like a year and a few months. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. Like what were your initial thoughts? Because you're like, okay, like yeah, tell me what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Because
when first time we got in there, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what is this place? Like, why am I here right now?
That's what we asked ourselves about everybody. Like anybody who came in there. Ty even worked out in there too, and we're interviewing him next. Like I wonder what him and his dad were thinking. I'll have to ask him in here.
Yeah, it was definitely a shock. I just didn't know what it was gonna be. I was like, I don't know if I'm getting myself into something good here or not.
Do these guys know what they're talking about? Like at all? No. So just so you know, like we'll show a clip here, like of Evan's bullpens in there and things like that. But basically, like it was a rinky-dink setup. We had a little thin little pitching lane and like a 25-foot hitting cage that we could do tee work and a little bit of soft toss and then a little turf area in there. And I can't even tell you when we were doing Evan's assessment when he did his like crow hop and he's like pushing off the turf, and since he pushed so hard, like it moved the turf, and we're like but you came in with a vengeance, man. Like you came in every single day, got your work in, did the drive line program. I know you were like your arm was still out of shape a little bit from that point, but you were starting at like low 80s. We got you up to like 88, 89 off the mound and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know how Dobie and Brock caught you in there. Like, that's why I was saying the other day when we were throwing the bullpen, like, Dobie, this is a little easier catching in here.
Yeah.
Still hard to catch because you're Evan Shaw, but.
Yeah, no, I remember even like a couple of my, sliders would like hit the side of the wall or something like that because I'd be trying to start it in like the lefty's batter's box and break it down the middle, but it'd be too narrow.
We're like, space. Evan, you can't break it that much. This is too narrow. But if you can focus on his mitt that long, like this is what's going to get you to the next level.
Yeah.
But no, you put in work. Like I think you were in there like January, February time frame for like, I don't know, 10, 12 weeks or something. And like you came in like religiously, like like 4 or 5 days a week, right?
Yeah. Oh like, yeah. No, that was all I was focused on at that time. It was just there was nothing that was gonna make me stop playing baseball. And I had gotten myself to a point where I could have lost baseball, and but yeah, I just refused to stop. And so I just wanted to push myself to where it'd be a point where somebody would have to pick me up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I did.
So at that point in time, like you weren't playing for a team or anything. You were just training.
Yeah. Like
you were going to Lifetime in Fridley. Like I know you told me you were getting your workouts in. You were doing your skills work, like throwing and everything at the Complete Athlete Fridley Warehouse, like RIP. But thank God we're out of there. But anyway, at that point in time, like into the summer, like what were your thought process? Because I know you like didn't try out for the Frontier League. You were wondering if you just should play baseball or go back to college, or like what was going on? Yeah.
So going into the summer, I wasn't sure where I was going to play summer ball or anything like that. But luckily, my dad got in touch with an old family friend of ours. His name's Matt Conley, and he coached my older brother when we lived out in California, and so he knew who I was because I would show up to practices and games and stuff like that, and he kind of kept up with my high school career and stuff, and then my dad reached out to him and kind of told him the situation that I was going through and stuff, and he just immediately was like, "Yep, I got him." He's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm gonna help Evan out." And so he called me, and it was like probably it was over an hour long conversation at least the first night that he called me, just kind of explaining to him the situation that I was in and just talking about baseball, talking about life, and then he hooked me up with another kid who he's a great friend of mine now. His name's Joey Mazzetti, and we got hooked up together, and he told us to go out to Palm Springs and play in a league out there together. And me and Joey stayed together in his grandparents' place, and him and his family, the Mazzettis, they're just incredible people. The hospitality that they've shown me is like they've treated me like one of their own the past 2 summers that I've been with them. And so going out there for that summer, it was I felt like with the training that I did in the spring, I felt just so much confidence in my abilities, and I just wanted to just prove myself out there and just show everyone that I was the best out there.
Absolutely.
That was my mindset going.
It's a great mindset
into the first game. It was like, I was like, it's your time right now to just show everybody who you are. And it was a great summer. The team that I played with was incredible. The guys were a lot of fun. We just played with so much energy, and
I was seeing those social media posts by like the Palm Springs Power League or whatever, and they were posting all your stuff about your guys' team and stuff, and it was like, I'm like, oh dang, these guys like to have some fun, but like get after it and win some ball games.
Oh yeah. That was how it was, and I had a great year. I ended up winning pitcher of the year out there that summer.
That's awesome.
And that ended up getting me a couple looks from a couple different schools, and one of them was Colorado Mesa, where my friend Joey is at right now.
Got it.
And so I was going to try to go there with him.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning that to me.
Yeah, so I was going to try to go there with him, but with the way I'd messed up in Mankato, my eligibility for the NCAA didn't work out, so they couldn't give me the scholarship that they were going to give me. But the coach there at Mesa knew the coach that I play for now at Coach East, Coach Englehart, and he got me in touch with Englehart, and he gave me a call one day and told me about Coach East, and I think that first phone call that I had with him was decided right there that I was going to go down to Coach East and play junior college down in Arizona.
Awesome. And I know we've you performed, like you played there last year, this last spring, and this will be your second year this upcoming spring. Like, tell us briefly about that. Like, and then I kind of want to hear about the big commitment and everything too.
Yeah, for sure.
But all that stuff that you've gone through, like, do you think that was part of God's plan?
Oh, 100%.
Like, to make you go through that, like all the family crisis stuff, and then like dealing with that, and like, do you feel like that's made you like stronger and like has prepared you where you're at now?
No doubt. I think
like everybody's story is different, but like this is part of your story right here.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that I've done or accomplished or anything that I've gone through that wasn't in God's plan. I think all the talent that I have, the ability that I have, the blessings that I've received from the family that I was born into, that's been the biggest blessing in my life. Everything's for a reason, and it's all part of his plan, and nothing's
unattainable without his help.
Yeah, there you
Right?
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't find the words.
That's all right,
Couldn't
man.
find the words.
We've been we've been talking for like 45 minutes already. So
Wow, time goes by fast.
it does, man. It does. And so
Um,
you were at Cochise, like obviously at a junior college level. Like a lot of our trainers, we went through that process as well. Like all these guys, or most of them, are hungry, right? You're one of the hungry ones.
100%.
And how was your first freshman season? And then tell us what happened after that.
First freshman season was amazing. I didn't know what to expect going down to Cochise. It was completely different from what I was used to. You know, I'm going back to the West Coast, which I'm familiar with the West Coast, but the place that Cochise is at is kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so when I got down there, it was kind of like going to a complete athlete for the first time. I was like, what the heck is this place?
What is this place?
So, but yeah, going through our fall practices and stuff and getting to know all my teammates, it was just a bunch of guys that are there to compete at the highest level and want to further themselves in baseball and in life. They just want to be better in everything that they do.
And everybody also there has a chip on their shoulder, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're trying to prove themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep, something's happened with their lives too that they want to. They're there for a reason, and they want to prove to everybody that they should be there and they should be moving on to a next level too.
Exactly.
But yeah, the fall was incredible. We just all clicked, like the whole team. There was no problems or anything like that. And,
Need that.
Yep. And then going into the spring season, it was kind of a rocky start. And for me, I experienced my first like arm injury or arm problem, and so that was like another setback where I was like, dang, what am I,
It's never happened. I had a rubber arm.
Exactly.
Because I remember those conversations with your dad, like, oh yeah, he can go forever, man.
Yep.
Like, so what was it? Like, what happened? I didn't hear about that.
It was like just inflammation in my elbow that I don't know exactly what it was from.
Yeah. I think your dad was saying it was the turf mountains out in the power league. I got lunch with him that one time at whatever that restaurant in Columbia Heights or Fridley, and he's like, these mounds, they need to get some clay mounds out there because these turf mounds are ruined. I mean, it isn't a natural surface, so your cleats can't dig in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that partially.
I was definitely using a lot more of my arm.
Yeah,
I couldn't drive as much with my legs, but
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it kept me out for a couple weeks. I missed, I think, 27 games, and we had like a 62 game season.
Okay.
So almost half of it, and it was crazy. I'd never experienced anything like that before, so it was another setback that I just had to push through.
Mm-hmm.
And my teammates and my coaches were there with me every step of the way. Like when I told my teammates for like the first time that I was like, yeah, like something's going on with my arm, like I gotta get checked out and whatever. And then when they knew that I was gonna be out for a little while, like, yo, man, just get healthy. Like, don't try to rush it back. We just need you here for when it's most important at the end of the season. And so, I'm grateful for my teammates for that, for understanding and supporting me in it. And
a lot of guys want to power through that stuff, and you got to think about the long game.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but when I did come back and started to pitch again, the end of the season was so much fun. It was so competitive, and we were winning a lot of games because we started out kind of rough, and then we just caught fire. And I ended up finishing out the season pretty well, and we got into the playoffs, and our first round of playoffs, I pitched in game 2 against a strong team, Arizona Western. They were at the highest ranked number 6 in the nation for junior college.
Yep.
And so that game was a really good game for me. I went 9 innings, only a couple runs given up, had like 13 or 14 strikeouts, and unfortunately we ended up losing that game because we went into extra innings. But then we played game 3 the next day, and we ended up winning that and moved on to the next round. And then we played against Central Arizona, and they were ranked highest, like third in the nation at one point. And then we took them to a 3-game series as well. And then unfortunately we lost in the third game in the 15th inning on a walk-off home run.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then they ended up going on to win the national championship.
Well, that probably took the wind out of you. You're like, but then you're like, oh, they won it. Okay, I guess. I mean, that happens. I mean, that's sports.
Exactly.
You don't always win on everything.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, we looked at it as like it was either we figured it was either them or us. Who, if we would have won that series, we feel like we were confident enough that we probably would have won it too.
Yeah. So let's get to the question that I'm wanting to ask. What happened with the whole KU thing?
Yeah.
Like, when did that come up?
Yeah.
Like,
so that was KU was kind of a surprise for me.
because you were mentioning San Diego State like a while before that.
Yeah, San Diego State had talked to me a little bit, like during that spring in my first year at Coach East.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't heard anything from them in a while. But yeah, KU was kind of a surprise. I didn't know they were even looking at me. I didn't know that I was even on their radar. But all of a sudden one day, it was like earlier, like mid-September. We're just beginning our fall practices this year, and one day this guy's walking down to our practice field, and we don't know who he is, but he looks like a scout and whatever, and
yeah.
And me and one other guy, we were scheduled to throw some live ABs that day, but it ended up like raining us out, and so we didn't throw. And while we were waiting for the rain to stop, our coach comes over to me and my teammate Fernie, and he's like, "Yo, got a coach out here for you guys from Kansas. Wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I met with his name's John Coyne. He's one of the coaches there, and he was talking to me and Fernie, and told us that we were on their radar, and that we were some of the top guys that they were going after, and they were trying to recruit JUCO guys heavy and try to get the number 1 JUCO recruiting class in the nation.
And they did it.
Yeah, they did. They did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
how many JUCO guys are going there with you?
8.
8.
Yeah, including me.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any other of your buddies that are playing like anywhere else, that are at Coach East with you that are getting recruited by other D1 programs?
Yeah. So my buddy Fernie that I just mentioned, that was getting recruited with Kansas, he didn't end up choosing Kansas, but he committed to New Mexico State.
Okay.
And then we also had another one of our relief pitchers. He's actually my roommate. His name is Matthias Lacombe. He's from France, and he committed to Louisiana Lafayette.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So and these guys, like, you get to play with them each day, and you guys run the grind together, and then you get that scholarship offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure.
Full ride, right?
Yep, it was a full ride.
When you told me that, because that doesn't happen in college baseball nowadays.
Yeah.
I was like hyped for you, man.
Yeah,
I was like, heck yeah.
It was when I was on my visit there, there was me and 2 other recruits that were there, and we each had like an individual meeting with each one of the coaches, and we each took like 10 to 15 minutes in each one of their rooms, talk with them and whatever.
Yeah.
And so our meeting with the head coach is where he would tell us the scholarship offer and stuff like that, and he had like a paper with like the numbers on it, and then he kind of slid it over to me, and I was looking at it, and this is like total cost of tuition and then total scholarship offer, and the scholarship offer was the total cost of tuition, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't
That's
know.
amazing. That's got to be like, what was that feeling that came over you? Like, you were just like,
it was just, I don't know.
Elation?
Yeah.
Like, you just like were like, holy crap, all this hard work's paying off now.
Yeah. And like I stared at the paper for probably like 20 seconds straight. Like I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. Like just thinking like the hard work's paying off right now.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at it right here.
Yes.
And
yes, I love hearing that.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was. They gave us like 2 hours after that to, go back to our rooms and kind of chill out and whatever. And so as soon as I got back in my room, I called my parents and was like, I just got offered a full ride here. And
I bet your mom was screaming, right?
oh yeah, they were so excited. It was an awesome feeling to be able to call them and tell them that, and hear how excited they were, and also know that because they've helped me pay for school and stuff like that, and to know that they wouldn't have to help me pay for anything and that it's all taken care of is just unbelievable, because they've sacrificed so much with the little money that we've always had growing up. And it's just unbelievable.
No, that's great, man. Like, and I mean, at this point, I'm like, I got all these questions on here, but I mean, just hearing your story, and I hope that impacts somebody who's listening and viewing to this, because you've been through a lot, like you've battled through it, like, and what did I tell you when you first came in here? The work's just starting now, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Right.
That's right.
It's not over now. Now it's time to put the work in, because what's the next goal for yourself?
Make the MLB.
Make the MLB. I love hearing it, man. I mean, it's great to have those audacious goals, like, because that's got to push you in some way. And every single day. And that brings me to your next question. What is your daily routine like? Like, what do you do on a daily basis to get you where you're currently at and to get you where you're going now?
Yep. So daily routine, it's a little different over the winter break here, because we only have one car right now as a family, so I can't and my dad usually needs to take it to work in the mornings. I usually have been waiting for him to get home so I can come here and get my work in and my throwing, and then I'll go to Lifetime and lift. But when I'm at school, it's always like I get up around 7:30. I'll go eat breakfast, and then the weight room opens to just like the rest of the campus at 8 a.m. Anybody can use it, and so I'll go in there and I'll get in either a light lift or do mobility work or things like that to just get my day going. And then after that, I'll go back to my room. I'll get ready, probably go to class. And then after class is done, I'll go get lunch. And then after lunch, I'll have a little bit of time to myself, 30 to 45 minutes before I go to practice. And then we do practice. And once that's done, we all go eat in the caf, and then we'll have a study hall. That's usually around 6 or 6:30 at night. And then after the study hall, we'll have a team lift, and so that'll be my second lift of the day.
That's a full day, man.
Yeah,
but that's good. I like it. You guys are putting in the work, and I'm sure when you're falling asleep, you put in the work that day, and you're ready for the next one. Get those. How much sleep you get in a night?
It's 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
7 to 8 hours.
I was gonna say, you need that rest and recovery, especially after all that work you put in during the day. So, and I know you really crushed the grades this year. You told me.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for you on that part.
That was the big thing, for me going when I got to Coach East was it's just I need to stay on top of the grades, because that
in order to play at the Division I level, you gotta make that happen.
Exactly. So that was I think for Coach East, the year and a half that I've been down there so far, I think I'm at a 3.7 GPA right now.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been Coach East has been great for me. It's the players, the coaches.
Sounds like it.
Everything's
playing out in Arizona. Obviously, when you started out in California, right, and then you came back to Minnesota, where 5-6 months of the year you're like, where's the light? And then you go down to Arizona, right? And I'm sure it's a whole different atmosphere, all the time, right?
Yep. It's the place that I'm at, it's not like the rest of Arizona either. It's like in the mountains.
Yeah.
And
Coachy says
yeah,
it's in the mountains.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's pretty high elevation. So it gets hot like the rest of Arizona. And
Yeah.
but it's also like deserty too. It's where like in the winters it'll get cold and like at night. So like during the day in the winter it'll be like 60, 70, which is great. It's beautiful. And then like at night it can get down into like the 20s and 30s and stuff like that. But it's like in the middle of nowhere, so it's kind of just like a baseball boot camp almost.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of those baseball farms they have just randomly around the U.S. Like just go to school, go to the baseball field, get your work in.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
There you go.
It's
and get recognized and go Division I.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you currently working on, like yourself? And to be honest, like what we've talked about today, we're gonna have to do another podcast because there's so many other things that I want to like dive into.
Yeah.
We definitely are gonna showcase some of his video on here, just of like your stuff down at Cochise or out in the Palm Power, whatever video you got of us, we'll definitely showcase it.
Okay.
But from a standpoint of where you're currently at, like what's getting you to the next level? Like where's your fastball velo at right now? Like what are you tinkering on with your off speed? Like what are you working on exactly?
Yeah. So I fastball velo right now. The last time I was on the gun, it was like 90 to 91. And then topped out at 93. And I think I want to add a couple more miles an hour onto that.
Okay.
For sure.
While having that insane movement away on a righty, dude. I told you that's what separates you.
Yeah.
You know, like
definitely.
that type of movement that you got on your ball.
Definitely. But I think like mechanical things that I'm trying to work on right now is definitely the hip shoulder separation. My coach was having me working on like just getting on top of the ball more to where I can have more depth on my pitches. Because there'd be, sometimes where I'm kind of just I'm on the side of it, so it's everything's kind of coming out flat and staying on the same plane.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of getting more on top of it, so it has more of that downhill angle, so it makes it tougher on the hitters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just little things like that I think I need to still improve on, and I think once I get the velo up a little bit more, and I might try to add in one more pitch here soon too.
What do you got right now?
Right now it's just four seam fastball. I already have like enough movement on it to where I've never really bothered with the two seam.
Yeah, you don't need to.
And then slider and a circle change.
Okay.
So those I'm pretty confident with all of those. So I might try to mix in something else here to throw some hitters off a little more.
Absolutely.
But otherwise it's that hip shoulder separation. I think I also just need to keep getting stronger too.
Absolutely.
And all those little things will definitely help me going forward, going into Kansas, and hopefully getting drafted.
Absolutely. That's the goal. It's going to happen, man. You've already set your mind to it. Last question before I ask where listeners can find you online. What is your own definition of what a complete athlete is?
I would say complete athlete is, I think it's a well-rounded guy. He's he makes sure everything is, like a 5-tool player, can run, you can hit, you can throw, you can field, whatever. You just, but it's not only a physical aspect, I think, too. You also have to have the mental side.
Yeah.
And I think the mental side is even more important than the physical, because if you don't have that mental side, baseball is a game where it will just
eat you up.
It'll beat you down, and it'll keep beating you down. And so I think, you definitely have to be strong mentally. Can't let things get under your skin too much, because there will be guys, especially once you get to the higher levels, that'll try to push your buttons, try to get underneath your skin. There'll be people that'll try to learn things about you, that they'll try to throw at you. And you just got to be prepared for anything and everything that comes your way, and just never stop and be someone that doesn't settle for bare minimum. You got to go above and beyond. You can't just do the bare minimum stuff that everyone else is doing. You can't just do team practices and team lifts. You got to do stuff on your own that'll separate you from the rest of the competition.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. That puts it spot on. And where can listeners find you online, Evan, if they're trying to find you?
Instagram, I believe it's Evan_Shaw57. And then,
or is it EJ Shaw?
That,
that's your email.
Yep, that's the email. Yeah, so Evan_Shaw57 on Instagram, and then EJ Shaw57 on the Twitter.
All right. Sweet. Do you post much content on there?
No, not on Twitter. I actually just made my Twitter after I committed to Kansas, because they wanted me to have that Twitter handle so they could
tag you. Oh yeah, they're like, we want to recognize you. Create an account. This is baseball heaven on here. What are you doing?
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I made that in the beginning of October. So not a lot of followers. I haven't really posted anything besides the KU commitment or anything like that. But yeah, EJ Shaw 57.
Who cares? Maybe we'll get some video you throwing in the dome here a little bit, or working on some drills that you can post on there or something.
Yeah,
if you want, doesn't matter to me. But
yeah, that would be great.
You've been putting in the work here. Excited. I'm so happy that you came on, Evan. We'll definitely have you back. You want to come back?
Oh, for sure. This
Sweet.
is great.
No, this is awesome. You are the definition of what we kind of want our players to emulate, and we are so proud of you, of where you've gotten, and I know your family's proud of you. Your grandparents are proud of you. So happy you're able to come on, and looking forward to having you in training next week again.
Yeah, appreciate you having me here. This is a great time.
Awesome. See ya.